Hello everybody and welcome to the second round of the I2I Xfinity Championship here from Daytona. After our clash at Michigan 7 days ago, we're ready to go with the season proper at the circuit that marks the start of almost all oval racing calendars, including this Xfinity Championship. Over the course of the next 3 or 4 months, we'll be crowning a champion after 8 regular season rounds and a 3-race playoff scheduled to end the season at Homestead in October. Very much looking forward to being with you on Saturday nights from here until the start of October here on the MotorMouth Broadcasting YouTube channel. This time round, myself, Ewan O'Leary, going to be joined by Hamish Munro in the commentary box. Good to be alongside you, Hamish. Very much looking forward to getting this season properly on the road after the clash at Daytona, at Michigan, 7 days ago. Here at Daytona, the classic way to start a season. It's going to be a very, very hectic way to start the season, as well as it always is.
Yeah, Ewan, it's going to be chaos-filled. It's very likely there's going to be some sort of carnage as well, starting out at this wonderful, world-famous super speedway, of course, the Daytona International Speedway, known for many, many highlights. You know, you look across YouTube or you look across the realms of history, majority of big ones happen either at Talladega or at Daytona. So we're going to be in for some chaos and some carnage tonight, but I think we're going to be in for a solid race as well. It's a track that offers up a whole heap of challenges, of course. Sitting in those draft trains, waiting for your positioning to get through the field, but also picking when you take those tyres is going to be absolutely crucial tonight as well, because saving some tyres to the end of this 80-lap race could very well be a benefit for you if you are left on the lead lap, but if we get into a restart scenario or we have a caution late on in the race as well. Now, we were a little bit confused prior to the start of this one, Ewan, of whether this is technically round 1 or round 2. I've listed it as round 2 on the graphic. On the thumbnail, it's listed as round 1. I'm sure we'll get confirmation by at least next week if this is classified as round 1, since the clash was last week at Michigan. But, I mean, we've got a hell of a series lined up, a hell of a calendar as well. Of course, Michigan last week, Daytona tonight, heading out to Nashville next week, then to Charlotte, Kansas. And then we were a little bit confused by it, but also it almost seems like it'd almost be a good idea too. August 9th out at the Red Bull Ring for the road course this season. So that'll be quite an interesting one. Atlanta Darlington Auto Club will then round out the regular season before we head into the playoffs, starting at Las Vegas into Talladega and then ending out at Homestead, Miami as well. So this is going to be a fantastic championship happening forward for us. It's going to offer up some great racing as well, and I think it's going to really offer up some opportunities for drivers that, you know, if they're fresh into the oval landscape, to get some learning across this calendar, but also as well just trying to, you know, sort themselves out in terms of keeping their races clean. I think that's going to be a big factor this season too, as it often is with oval racing. If you're in wrecks every single week, you're not likely going to be in the championship hunt, but need race wins if you want to get into those playoffs.
Absolutely. Just to pick up on a couple of things there, whether we're calling it round 1 or 2, it's certainly round 1 in terms of points being handed out, because there weren't any at the clash, but for all the others, there are points handed out in the normal fashion. It's the normal NASCAR points as well. So 40 points for first, 35 for second, and then 1 point all the way down to 36th, which receives 1 point, and everyone below that as well. If you get to the end, just the 1 point further down. On the Super Speedways point you made, almost, I think Atlanta's going to be taken on in the current form rather than the older layout, although I don't know that for 100% either. That makes about a quarter of the calendar, just over a quarter of the calendar made up by Super Speedway races, which, as you say, are going to be the most high intensity to try and stay out of trouble for. Before we go any further, though, let's just thank the sponsors who have made this broadcast and indeed this season possible here, the I2I Xfinity Championship, starting, of course, with Skylock Audio, Video and Lighting, who sponsored this race. This is the Skylock 200 from Daytona, 80 laps of racing, 200 miles, and a big thanks to them for coming on board as the title sponsor for the first points race, anyway, of the season. Also, other sponsors, DRE, who are on board this season, Hawkers Automotive, Chop House Restorations, who are sponsoring our restart zone this season, and Blue Line Technologies as well, who have sponsored the White Flag Lap this season as well, or indeed the overtime finishes or whatever we are going to get later on, if indeed we're going to get those. But to bring you up to speed with where we are in the session right now, we are just into qualifying. Not the most enthralling watch in the Daytona International Speedway. We will see the qualifying times come through and indeed a grid order when they all line up. But as I say, there isn't too much to Daytona qualifying. Just stick to that double yellow line on the bottom and ride your way round. As you can see, times, as they always are, going to be super close in qualifying for this round.
Well, I think, qualifying isn't going to be that important at a super speedway, Ewan. I think obviously shows you have some good pace, but there's always that X factor, isn't there, of the carnage or the big one that can happen around here. And I think if you can set yourself up well on pole, prove you've got the pace, if you get some clean running out the front, then obviously you can get the benefactor, or you can be the benefactor of that. But it's going to at least throw a good test to these drivers as well. We have got an ad break sorted too for halfway through the show tonight to give thanks to Skylark AV as being the round sponsor too, so you can look forward to that around about lap 40 tonight as well. Qualifying's done and dusted, and Paul Harris has put it on the pole position as well, as we just have a quick rundown of this starting grid, Ewan. Paul Harris and Bailey Brannon on the front row. Well, we'll look forward to seeing how they go together with Cody Pruitt and Nicholas Meadows, then Logan Gill making up the top 5.
Absolutely. Further down than that, Tyler Miller will be alongside. Then Trey Martin and Trey Jones will be sharing row 4, which seems fitting. Kyle Woodward and Chris Mackey will round out the top 10 with Zach Smathers and Chris Hone on row 6. Next up will be William Hawker, who's ahead of Tyler Mersey. It's Logan Urquhart and Lucas Domini on row 8 ahead of Ryan Simmons and Nate Owen. Inside of row 10 is Mitchell Holtz ahead of Devin Trusty. Just outside the top 20, Shane Johnson and B. Strong with Bill Dickey the second ahead of Taylor Strong in 24th. 25th is Trey Grabber ahead of Nathan Ford. Joe Dyson and Jeff Hall are on row 14 ahead of Miles McAdams and Jesse James rounding out the top 30. Then those who didn't set times in qualifying: Mike Rinker, Charles Rinker, Daniel Wing, Brody Fisher, John Roberts, Quinton Morrow rounding out the 36 cars. Still more further down: Cody Nelson, Ronnie Clark and Caleb Ross rounding out the 39 who have gotten to the start. As I mentioned, normal NASCAR points, so the bottom few drivers are only going to score 1 point. If you get involved in an early crash, it's going to be a very low point scoring day for you indeed. As the drivers grid up on pit road, they'll have a pace lap and then we'll be underway racing. As you say, maybe not the most important in the world, but 80 laps at Daytona is going to fly by pretty quickly. At least the green flag laps are, because you can run out of time pretty quickly to work your way through the field, and it can get tricky to do that in a super speedway race as we commence the pace lap.
Yeah, pace lap gets underway. I think just preparing yourself for the pressure that you could be feeling obviously off the start of this race. As we said, it's super speedway stuff, so it's going to be fast pace action, comparatively to maybe short track racing and stuff like that. You often see carnage from short track when it's a lot of cars tightly together and they're trying to make moves under slower conditions. With the super speedway, it often happens when cars sort of get unsettled within the draft train or side drafting off other cars as well. So I'm hopeful that we can have a nice green period to start this race here, Ewan, maybe 10 to 20 laps, because we don't want to, if we get into the rhythm of having those cautions early, that then may become a domino effect of caution after caution. So hopefully these drivers can keep it clean here tonight, as we just ride on board with Paul Harris here leading up towards the start. So he's done well to put this car on pole. We'll see how he does off this race start as well, being right at the front of the field.
Yeah, the man from New Jersey putting it on pole in the first points race of the season here at Daytona. The Skylark 200, which will be getting underway just around the corner. One more detail to tell you about, actually, that is going to be important, or a couple more actually. There will be a fast repairs, so they will be able to get back into the race should there be a big crash, but can't get involved in multiple wrecks, otherwise you will be consigned to the back of the field. And we do have a stage break, 30 laps in the stage and then 50 laps run to the end. Since these cars can go 27 laps on fuel and not much more than that, it's going to be pretty tricky to do it without a stop. So we may well see green flag pit stops if, as you say, we get those first 10 laps or so knocked off pretty quickly. We might well see green flag stops quite quickly as well. They've got small fuel tanks in these cars. Let's see, though, as the first points race of the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship gets underway. 80 laps from Daytona. It's the Skylark 200, the first points race of the season, and the green flag waves. Almost 2 rows of 20 all the way down. It's a clean first lap of the points season, and Harris able to take the pole and take that first lap lead in the 91 Cup.
They kept it nice and tidy across that first lap. Now, obviously, the draft train's beginning here. Appears the low line is definitely the better choice for these drivers at this stage of the race, but I think as the tyre wear starts to come down, they might struggle just to grip it up on that inside line. That may then see the outside train runners really start to come back at this stage. But the 91 and the 98 tucked up nicely behind each other at the moment. Cody Pruitt's doing well just to sit right on the tail here of Paul Harris in front of the field as they run up towards the start-finish line now to commence lap number 3 too. But nice clean running at the start here, Ewan, and I'm impressed. They've done well. I mean, these Xfinity cars, for a little while, they were the preferred oval option compared to the next-gen car. But the longer that the next-gen car's been in iRacing, it's kind of become a 50-50 between drivers on which one they prefer, but they both definitely offer up some great racing.
Of course, I thoroughly enjoy the racing that this Xfinity car throws up to the, if you can believe it, a European Oval League over the course of the winter just gone, and it just produces fantastic racing all over. Although I must say, the thing about Daytona with these cars compared to the next gens, I find that these cars, especially as you say, when those tyres wear down, I find that they're a lot more difficult to control than the next gen cars, which may be counterintuitive, but that is going to become a real factor surely later on in the race, if indeed we get these long green flag runs that we might well do if they continue on like this.
Well, it's been a similar scenario with the new ARCA car as well. I've had the pleasure of calling some races this season with that car involved, and that's turned out to be, the longer the stint goes on, the tyres start to wear away, similarly to these Xfinity cars. So, these lower, I don't want to call it lower tier of racing because it's still a high caliber of racing, but these lower tier cars comparatively to the next gens, definitely wearing tyres a lot worse as the stint goes on. And we mentioned that tyre strategy is going to be a big factor tonight when you take those stops, when you take those tyre stops too. If we do get cautions early here, these cars will be able to save some fuel. As you said, they're going to be about 3 laps short of the stage break for this racing around about lap 30. So if we do get a caution or two here in these first 30 laps, we may then find that these drivers can make it to lap 30 to then actually get to the stage break. But eventually, we may even see some drivers coming in early just to get out of some of the train and maybe go on an alternate strategy. So we'll see how that pays out for them throughout this first period.
Worth remembering, of course, that the stage comes at lap 30 to remind you in the Skylark 200 here tonight, and so points will be awarded to the top 10 in the normal way that we do in NASCAR these days, at 10 through 1 for that top 10, and indeed a playoff point for the stage winner as well. There will be 5 playoff points for a race winner in each of our 8 regular season rounds. The top 10 in points will all go through to those playoffs for the final 3 races of the season, and then playoff points will be added to their score before the end. So you do need the points to accumulate. It's not a win and you're in situation, but you need the points to accumulate, and you need a race win or 2 as well, just to give you that little bit of a head start going into those final 3 races, those crucial 3 races at the end of the year.
I mean, as they often are, points are going to be crucial here. As right on board with Trey Martin, he's just selectively changed his lane that he was in. He was on that inside lane for a while there. He's decided to go outside. This may drop him some positions, though. As you see some cars of Kyle Woodward and Chris Mackey just sneak on past him on that inside line. may have gone a little bit too early, but he will be helped now with two cars just heading right in front of him as they run back around towards the start-finish line here. But you know, these guys have been keeping it clean. You almost feel that there's a bit of a static in the air here, and that it's only going to take a bit of time, and we may get our first caution, because the percentages say they can only run this closely together before mistakes start to be made, and the car decides when it's going to lose or get loose on you, and then you end up in either the wall or in the side of another car.
Just feel like that tension's just ramping up a little bit in these next few moments, doesn't it? Right now, just that outside line starting to work well together now. It's really broken up actually off the start, and you can see that Harris was able to get a very easy lead early on. Not least because he got pole position, but also because the outside line wasn't very formed up. But now you can see it the opposite way round. Some of those drivers coming through from the back have just seen an opportunity here, and there you go, almost a photo finish at the line at the completion of lap number 7. Harris, I think, has led every lap so far, but yeah, this is getting closer, and as you say, a mistake is going to be made at some point, but only accelerated by the fact that this outside line is just starting to make a move. You can see it back there. It's a little bit more organised now on the outside.
Yeah, it's definitely getting more and more organised in these sort of top 20 or maybe top 25 cars that are in this line astern. You know, we mentioned at the start of the race that as the tyres start to wear, the mid to outside line is going to get a lot more favourable, because you can start to run a bit more pace. A bit harder to run at pace on the inside once those tyres start to wear down, because it just so slightly starts to lose grip. So as this race goes on, especially whilst they're in this draft train, that outside line will become a slightly more favourable, but again, it's how well the momentum's going to shift in your favour, and how well you can use that momentum to your advantage. And as important as it is in oval racing, it's so important in super speedway, using the momentum to your advantage and just trying to fight your way forward to the front of the field.
And look at this run on the backstretch now, led by the 22 of Meadows, who scored a top 5 in the class last week, in fact 5th place exactly in that 22 car. Looking for a good start to the point season, and look at that as well. Gill just trying to move up to block, maybe try and join in, not sure, in that 2 car, but the outside line certainly making moves. Harris, Pruitt and Gill, though, are working well together as well as a front trio on the inside line, and they lead another lap, now lap 10. If we're going to see these guys split this first stage in half, which we see in real life fairly often, then those first pit stops of the day will not be too far away.
No, and I think, you know, often is the obvious choice of need to be cautious of that pit entry, of course, and make sure you don't speed into pit lane. Oh, that was a very aggressive lane change there from Logan Gill, almost like he was deciding to leave the motorway from the outside lane there, but he's then just tucked right in front of the 22 car of Meadows on that outside line. So he's kind of just decided, I don't want to sit behind these two anymore on this inside line of Pruitt and Harris, and he wants to try and take the lead of this race in the wheel and entry.
And that's maybe the just momentum that the outside line needed there. It did stall them briefly, but Gill now is really challenging Harris for this race lead. 91 car was just about in front of at the line there, but it wasn't a very big margin at all. And you can see now we've got 2 pretty evenly matched lines on the inside and out. All 39, I believe, still involved in the train, even those down hanging out of the back. Not interested in stage points, clearly. They're interested in missing the big crash of the day, I think. And they're just hanging out of the back, but all of them involved. Oh, and there it is! There's the first crash of the day here at Daytona. It comes about 2/3 of the way down the field, and there's 10 or 15 or so involved.
Well, I like to claim that I did that on purpose, but that was complete luck that we've just caught that with the camera choice. But wow, it just how did that come about? Did they just get kind of loose on that moment there, Ewan, do we think? Or I mean, it just seemed that somebody just got a little bit too loose there. Caleb Ross was involved in this. Oh, he just got right into the back of the 16, and then he's blinking hard as well. So all carnage breaks loose. So obviously I think that was the 16 car, just either lifted a little bit too much through 3, and then that caught out Caleb Ross, and into the back of him he went.
Yeah, not sure whether that was a concertina effect or whether the 16 driver of the 16 just saw something up ahead that maybe they were slowing down for as well. not entirely sure, but it was a domino effect, and some have been into the wall as a result. So they'll be using their first fast repair with still nearly 70 laps to go, which is not particularly ideal. Now they come through 3 and 4. Will we see any pit stops, or are these drivers going to save enough fuel under caution to stay out now, because they only need to save 3 laps in over the course of 30. If they're in the draft, they should be able to do that, along with a bit of a caution as well. And at the very least, the leaders are going to stay out on the racetrack.
Yeah, we'll see if anyone comes in to take that gamble. Well, Zach Smathers is in, so he wants to take this maybe early gamble here of just offsetting the pit stop strategy a little bit. I do think they're the smarter choice. If you are at the front, you just stay out, you save the fuel. If you're Paul Harris, you've had no draft train, so you've got to use now this caution to your advantage to save the fuel to get to lap 30. Very likely we'll need a second caution to really save enough to get there though, but if you're in the position of Logan Gill or Pruitt, you've probably been able to just save enough to this point where now you very likely can get to the stage break without needing this pit stop. So for Harris, he's got some pressure on him, but we'll see if he can save enough to make it to the stage break without needing a pit stop.
Yeah, let's see. It's going to be fairly tight, I seem to think, for Harris. But anyway, we'll find out. Be about a lap and a half or so until we get back underway. Green flag racing again. The lights should go off next time round, and then we will see everybody line up 2 by 2 again. Smathers has come out down in 30th place, so I think that says to me that 11 or so came in, 10 or 11 came into the pit lane that time round. There would have been damage repairs.
Well. He took tyres as well on this first stop,
okay.
So do we think it's too early for tyres, Ewan? It feels like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they get 3 tyre sets for the race. If you're already on your second, that seems like a... well, did you take all 4 or just 2? I don't know if that matters.
He's taken a 21-second stop, so I'd say he's taken all 4.
Yeah.
Where Yuka, for example, who's also come in, took an 8-second stop, so he's only taken fuel on that one. I think some drivers may have only taken 2, but there's definitely others out there who've taken all 4. So that's definitely a maybe an early strategy blunder, because he's going to have to go a long way now on this tyre set if he wants to save some for the end of this race. We have got a heap of chats out there as well. William giving the love to the number 8 car at the moment. We've also got Kelly Parker out there, Jackie Chan 5 as well, Matthew Larrick, John Phones, Natasha Merricks as well, Robert Stevens, Zach Kimry, Michaela Evans is out there with us as well, Angie Imarito in the chat, Fusion 5, Liam Goodwin, and Hasbro Tube as well. A lot of those guys and girls in the chat are claiming that it's the 27 car's fault for causing the caution. I'd have to agree, because he didn't really take caution into 3 when the car ahead of him lifted and just plowed into the back of him and caused absolute carnage. So probably just maybe pushed a little bit too hard into the back of that car, and it caused the chaos for us. But we're looking to go restart here. We'll see how long of a green period we can get, Ewan. But we went about 11 laps without a caution. Let's see if we can double that and go 22 and get to the stage break.
Yeah, exactly. We're about halfway in this first stage now. I should say the stage. We have 3 stages only for the race at Charlotte in 2 weeks' time, actually. We'll be live with that one on July 26th. 150 laps around there, which is going to be our longest race of the season. The longest night in NASCAR is going to be coming to us as well. 150 laps, so that will be a 3-stage race. But other than that, it's 2 stages all the way. The shortest of which will be in a few weeks' time, of course, at the Red Bull Ring. We said earlier on, slightly odd choice, but we're looking forward to it, I've got to say, to the Red Bull Ring race. Going to a very different circuit for these NASCAR Xfinity cars, and we'll be back with that later, of course. But it's the familiar grounds of Daytona to start the season. The first points race, anyway, of the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship. This is the Skylark 200, presented by Skylark Audio, Video and Lighting. It's time to go racing again. Green flag in hand. Just 16 to go until the stage break here from Daytona. And the green flag waves again as Paul Harris tries to continue this domination, which he's held over this race so far. Oh, trouble in the background was there? No, not quite. Just a little bit of a brush on the wall, maybe for somebody. I can see somebody blinking in the midfield as well, which isn't helping. I think the people trying to avoid.
They seem a little bit more scrambled now after this caution, don't they? You're definitely out of the train.
Oh.
Yeah.
3 wide.
Yeah. Just a slightly bit more scrambled as we begin lap 16. Has the caution maybe just spooked them a little bit, do we think? Or maybe it just takes a couple laps for them to get back into the rhythm of sitting in the draft train? I mean, they did well to sit in a line astern for so long at the start of this race that everyone in behind them now, it's looking a little bit messy in terms of how they're situating themselves and what line they want to pick for the next period in this race.
Yeah, I think the ambition for stage points has really ramped up. You know, when you at the start of the race, you're sort of 30 laps away, and you're thinking, well, that is quite a long time. You know, 25 minutes or so of racing, that's a long way away. Suddenly, you're 16 laps away, rather. You know, you're only about 12, 13 minutes away from some real points here at the start of the season. So I think that's wrapped things up, and we've got our first 3 wide inside the top 10 as well.
Yep, they're trying to find the best way forward here. The 80 car of Tyler Murgy there, he wanted the outside line, was very, very close to the wall. Just had to back out of it in the end, but you know, early pushing here to try and get up towards the front, get those stage points as you mentioned, which can be crucial come the end of the season, Ewan, if these drivers can get those stage points early in the season. For Paul Harris, if he can get 10 points on the board early tonight, and then he can back that up with more points by the end of the race as well, and he'll be sitting very, very pretty before we head out to round 2 next week.
We've had pit stops as well. What's been going on there? Not entirely sure whether we've had some trouble further down the pack here, because I did notice as well we've got a break in the field, noticeable as well, as Gill is being pushed mid-corner by Meadows, Nicholas Meadows, who, well, it was playing a dangerous game there, but as I say, the intensity has ramped up, and as you can see, we've got, I don't know if you have the info in front of you, I can count about 20 there maybe in the front group.
Yeah, aside from going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it looks to be a hell of a lot of cars just sticking together here. I think you're right, maybe about 20 or 30, or maybe 20 or 25 cars just in this top group. Off of that, though, you mentioned the break in the field, there are some cars further back. Interesting enough, there's kind of this second pack starting to form of the pit stoppers as well. Not sure how they've kind of lost so much time or ground to the cars ahead of them. They should have been able to catch the back of the train after the caution, but I'm not sure how that's kind of worked out.
I wonder if there was a bit of a spill further down the field, because, as I say, that I saw some people coming out of pit lane. And don't forget, by the way, with the stage coming up, I don't think those guys will be too worried about dropping off the field, and we've got another caution. Caution flies again, and that is not involving the front group. A couple of guys were actually about to go a lap down. They'll be very pleased that this has come out. It's in the second group. Carl Woodward, one of the drivers who has had trouble, eventually comes to a stop on the racetrack. Seems like a pretty soft caution. I'm not sure how that's come out entirely, but there you go anyway. Caution's been thrown.
He's gone back and forth and somehow didn't collect anyone as he was going zigzag down the banking. I'm not sure how he's managed that, but definitely a soft caution here. I think now with this second caution being called, I think we can probably confidently say Paul Harris could save enough now to get to the stage break, I think, Ewan, with this second caution. So he should be okay. The front runners with him should be okay as well. So it's going to mean now Pruitt, Mackay and Co are all going to have to really try and fight their way past the 91 car if they want to get these early stage points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's certainly going to make it now. to that first stage. It's going to be a right dash for the first stage as well. We've probably got another couple of laps of caution here, Hamish. So I wonder if we've got a bit of time to play our ad under caution here, so we don't miss any of the racing later on. If that's all right with you, and we've got enough time. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that, and we'll be back on the other side with the restart.
When it's midnight, keeping it tight. If people wanna go for war, it can get dark, but we stay bright. Coming like a night, it's on sight. Ever touch my sleeve? They wanna disagree when it's clear that I'm speaking facts. Man like me, you know I'm proactive. Never gonna stop till I see the big man's on flats.
Hop on the front door, it's like midnight. Don't lose your grip, cause you might fall out again. Off-right whip, need for speed. I'm not switching the lane. Pick up the pace.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, big thank you to Skylark AV for being the round sponsors this week for the Daytona 200. Ewan, we're going to have a couple laps of caution here just for the moment. Looking forward to the stage break, obviously, as well, where these cars can now make it on their fuel to that stage break. If you were one of the cars that pitted early on lap 12, you might be kicking yourself now for not rolling the dice and hoping for a second caution. Because that's probably taken them out of the realm now of a caution points finishing position.
Yeah, perhaps. I think it's different ways of looking at this, really, whether you're looking to the very end of the race or the here and now. I think this caution is an interesting one in terms of those down the back end of the field, just topping off on fuel maybe, and hoping maybe that with a couple of cautions they could make it all the way to lap 80 with just one pit stop before the finish. That might be a stretch with still 59 to go, even as they come across line 58 when they go back green again. Yeah, it could be difficult for them, but it's an interesting time, this caution. As you say, Harris now will have done enough fuel saving to go to the end, but are we going to go to the end of this stage without another caution? Because it's going to be an 8-lap dash here, and I think the aggression's going to go up another notch, to be honest, even compared to the one we've just seen.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking messy and really scrambled prior to this caution happening off the last caution restart. We could very easily see that similar scenario once again as well, heading into now this next period of the race. We're going to have around about 7 or 8 laps here before the stage break at lap 30. So the pressure's now going to be on, especially guys at the front, you know, Cody Pruitt in the 98 car, Brannon and Mackay as well. Shout out to Chris Mackay, actually one of the series sponsors as well. We'll give him a bit of a shout out later on when we run through some of the details of his business. But, you know, pressure's on now for this top 4 to 6 cars and trying to get past Harris here just to get some stage points on the board. So when lap 23 commences, we'll go green once again, and the field will be hoping to charge forward and get some stage points by the time we get to lap 30.
I'm not sure, again, not sure if you have the access to this, but I think everybody's still in the race as well. I think there's still 39 in the field. There will be a couple of laps down now.
Everyone's in. Yeah. There's one car in pit lane in Taylor Strong. They've been in there for about 3 minutes. I think they're trying to get their car fixed. Oh, no, they've been in there for about 45 seconds. Sorry, so they're probably trying to just get their car fixed again.
Okay, we will have already had some people use their fast repair, now having to use real life seconds to repair their car further down the field. We did see a lucky dog as well, so all of that is starting to come into. It's starting to feel like a proper oval race, isn't it? Really, with all of that going on down the back end of the field. So 8 to go to the stage, 50 to go from that point to the finish in the Skylark 200 here from Daytona. We will wait and see who comes out on top. For the moment, Paul Harris is looking pretty unbeatable, although we are still very early on the race. Was one of the pre-race favourites, in fairness, but he's looking good at the moment. In comes the pace car, and with 58 to go in the race overall, we are ready to race again. Green flag waves again at Daytona, the end of the second caution of the afternoon. 8 to go to those first stage points of the season.
scrambled again here, Ewan. Off this restart, drivers unsure which lane to go into at this stage, and just trying to ease their way forward, selectively trying to figure out which is going to be the best form of attack here. The laps are going to come down quickly before this stage break, so they've got to get a move on. They know that. They've got to try and put themselves in a points-winning position here at the end of the first stage of this race before we inevitably get into the pit stops and everyone resets themselves for the final run to the end.
See the split in the field, can't you, of those who really want these 10 points at the end of the first stage and who wants to just stay in the race without getting involved in any big accidents at this early stage. Harris certainly is going to want the full 10 points, though. Has led every one of the 23 laps so far this afternoon at the Daytona International Speedway. And there's barely 10 involved, actually, at the front. 3 wide, meanwhile, in the second row. And it's ever so brief. Thank goodness for that. That was quite close and quite early for a 3-wide moment.
Yeah, they're hungry for it, aren't they? They're hungry for the positions. They're hungry for the points as well. And they're just pushing the edge of grip here, pushing the edge of the limits and wanting to take on these positions, take on these points finishing positions as well. They're going to be crucial come the end of the season. They know that. I know we're early on here and it's early to call who could be in a championship winning position, but early points are going to be crucial as Pruitt and Brannan are just ahead now of Paul Harris, who's lost the race lead. With only what will be 5 laps until the stage end, they're 3 wide down the back stretch as Mackay looks to go off the road as well to get past them. And we said it's going to be a scramble to the end. And for Harris, he's lost out on the race lead to Cody Pruitt here on that low line.
Well, I think that was Chris Mackie just getting loose after being pushed by Gill and just went below the double yellow as a result. This is tight, though, at the front of the field. 5 to go to the stage. Pruitt's going to lead a lap. Harris is going to try and get this race lead back again, but at the moment sort of stuck boxed in on the inside line. As you can see, there's about 15, 20 or so battling for the race lead at the moment, but I can tell you further down that the top 32 are all involved in this front group at the moment. Look at that. It's a great bit of vision further down. As you can see, 16 rows of cars, 2 by 2, going into the end of the first stage of the season.
Well, as we head towards the first stage break of this season, the 98 car of Cody Pruitt is starting to feel the pressure of the 91 of Paul Harris behind him. Harris won't be happy that he lost the race lead. He'll want to try and get this back, but he's running out of time to get the maximum points here at the stage break, especially with Brannan on that outside line, cutting off his opportunity of tucking past Cody Pruitt here in P1.
Who's going to be brave to force this 3 wide for the first time as well? We've seen hints and glimpses of it, but surely at some point it's going to come. Maybe they're not quite going to take it that far just for the stage points themselves, but later on this afternoon we're certainly going to see it. Mackie there very nearly into the side actually of Charlie Murgy in the 80 car. Now on the backstretch, is anybody going to force it? Is it just going to be a big push down the backstretch? They're pushing each other hard now. The aggression really turned up as they approach lap 30.
So Brannan just etching into the lead now ahead of Cody Pruitt as they traverse turn 3. They're side by side. It looks like they're going to go side by side all the way to the stage break. It's Brannan now in the lead of Pruitt again as they cross the line. Then it's Pruitt just etching ahead as well. This could be a photo finish right to the line here, Ewan. And I think it's going to come down to who wants to give a bit of a bump draft to the car ahead of them.
Very noticeable, isn't it, how anybody outside the top 12 or so doesn't really want any involvement in this. They just want to stay out of a crash, which maybe they see is quite likely at the moment. Look at some of the gaps opening up back there. Single file. Let's just space ourselves out a little bit here and make sure we don't get involved in anything. Now then, 3 wide for the first time, and it's a move down the middle for the 22 car. Meadows trying to force it 3 wide. Goodness me, into turn 3 and 4. 2 to go at the line with proper 3 wide now at Daytona.
Oh, contact with the 80! And if the caution is thrown, it's going to be the stage break if that happens. Cars are forced into pit lane because of that. And it's a big one on the turn 1. Right onto the start-finish line. Caution is thrown. That's going to be the stage break. And ironically, it's going to be stage points for the 91 of Paul Harris, who's just tucked back ahead of Cody Pruitt right as the caution was thrown.
Wow. Paul Harris is going to win the stage after all. He would have been nervous for those last few laps as he lost the race lead. but he's got it back again, and he's going to take the 10 points, and indeed a playoff point. Should he make it to the top 10 by the end of those 8 races and into the playoffs, those final 3 races? It all started Tyler Murgy in the wall in car 80, and to be honest, it's one of the longest wrecks I've ever seen. Off of turn 4 they started, and finally under the tri-oval they finished it.
Yes, there was a couple of cars obviously forced wide and then sort of forced towards pit lane, and then as the 8 car comes back on, he then just kind of tucks right in front of the 80 entry, but he just cuts straight back onto the oval section, and then that kind of causes more and more damage to more cars behind him as well. That was Devin Trusty, who's kind of just forced this issue to be a lot worse than what it was. Wow, wowee. And I mean, you just felt that it was coming, don't you, Ewan? I mean, you feel like, you know, they were getting really scrambled together, just trying to force the issue, and inevitably it was going to happen, and then it did in the end. So we should see cars coming into pit road as they approach the pace car here. They'll do a lap under it, then the pit lane will open for them to come in. Paul Harris takes the first stage wins of the season, but it was looking like Cody Pruitt was going to take it from him, and then somehow he got the run, and then probably got saved by the caution getting called as he made the overtake.
Yeah, it's impossible for us to know whether he would have won anyway, but
No.
yeah, it certainly helped him. The fact that that caution came out and just helped him along to a stage victory. The pits will be open already, so is anybody going to carry on, try and sweep up the points? Because they haven't done lap 30 yet. So what do they do here? Is everybody just going to agree to come in? I'm not sure. If everybody comes in, then Harris will have the stage points anyway, because he'll come over the line with the lead. Does anybody stay out and sweep up the points?
No,
Doesn't look like it. No,
I think
everyone's in.
I think they're thinking about race distance, and yes, you could push the envelope and stay out and try and take the stage win from Harris, who takes his points here. There's a couple more
Pruitt
cars
just,
following.
Pruitt overshot his box there, so just have to keep an eye on this. Logan Gill with a shorter stop than most, and he gets out first. Lucas Domini also, though wasn't able to get ahead of Paul Harris, who's second. Chris Mackey will be next. A bit long stop from Cody Pruitt, puts him down to 5th. Shorter stop from Trey Jones, he's up to 9th place. Long stop from Nate Owen, who's down now to the bottom end of the top 20. Even longer from Ryan Simmons, hopefully he didn't speed. Long stop as well for Charles Rinker, who's outside the top 20 now. Simmons still stopped. I do wonder whether he sped. Same for Mike Rinker and Daniel Wing. Maybe they are just repairing their car, not sure, but there's some long stops happening down there.
So I think now the point to remember is the race leader, Logan Gill, is tucked up behind some lap traffic here, is making sure you obviously don't jump the green flag, because that could ruin your race almost immediately. We haven't had anyone at the front of the field jumping these restarts thus far, but it is a point to remember for these drivers at the front. I think Logan Gill only taking an 11.5 second stop there, I think shows to us he's probably only taken 2 tyres over that stop, where Paul Harris and co have probably taken all 4, just getting themselves prepped and ready for this next stage of this race. Of course, 50 laps it'll be to the end of this race now, as we're on lap 31 of 80, but we'll have probably another lap or maybe 2 of the pace car, as the lucky dog rule will then be in effect for Be Strong, unless Tyler Miller who will get it this stage, because he's ahead of the race leaders. So we'll see if they let them all pass, just let the race leaders at the front. It should do. Be Strong back here as well. Must think that he's a mid-2000s rapper with that sort of name. So see if he can spit some bars tonight. He's way at the front of the field.
Endless opportunity for us there.
Oh yeah,
this season.
Oh yeah. He'll win the Grammy for best name, I'm sure.
Yes. So, as you said, anyone caught between the pace car and the race leader gets the wave by. And how many does that get us on the lead lap now? Just counting up, 30, I think.
Yeah, by the time they come round to the back of the train, they should be onto the lead lap. So if we have another caution ironically be strong should actually get the lucky dog rule and then get waved around. So at this stage, though, we should be ready for a restart as everyone's lined up side by side for the stage restart for stage 2 of this race. It'll be 48 laps to go when we cross the start-finish line, and Logan Gill will have control of the field. And Paul Harris, for the first time in this race, off a restart, is going to be forced onto the outside line instead of his preferred low line here for the restart at Daytona.
Yeah, he hasn't been up there very much. I wonder whether he's going to search for some space immediately, or whether he's going to embrace it and stay up there for a little bit longer. We will wait and see. But as I say, 30 cars on the lead lap. There's another 3 fighting for the lucky dog down the back end of the field at the moment, and there are, as far as I'm aware, at least 37 still in the race. Oh dear, we've got trouble at the back coming to green here. Wonder whether we might extend the caution by a lap, and we have, because there was trouble there. I was just thinking to myself there while you were talking that there's a bit of faffing going on down at the back. What I'd describe as faffing anyway.
Bit more than a faff. Just I think you know, just no lube, shove it in. Pretty much there at the back of the field. So it's yeah, that's very, very weird for this to happen under caution. I mean, there's a lot of explorative words we could use for that. Of course, we can't. At least I can't. It's not late enough in the day for me to be able to say it. It would be late enough for you, Ewan, but yeah, just maybe go get a checkup with a psychologist on why you're making those sorts of moves under pace car. I don't know, but yeah, very interesting.
You know, that happened to me in my very first ever league race.
Yeah, I've been
about 10 years ago.
I've had issues before under safety car over my 2 years of broadcasting, one of which was my father killing the back of a safety car train as he traversed around towards turn 1 of Long Beach. I never let him live that down.
No.
He came round full bore to the safety car train as they were entering turn 1. He collected 2 cars on the way through. He never lives that down, and I reminded him that swiftly this week as we went racing at Long Beach again. I said, mate, if we get a safety car, just don't kill the train, please. I don't want this to happen twice. So yeah, he sent someone to the moon that day, and they have not forgotten their trip out of space. But yeah, definitely a weird scenario for this to happen. It's not often we get pace car or safety car incidents happening, but when it does happen, it's a good little chuckle for us as the pace car looks to come in for this restart.
Yeah, less amusing for the drivers, who'll be very annoyed, I would imagine, down the back end of the field. But anyway, we should be able to go back green now, and maybe into a bit of a green flag run. Hopefully so as well, as during that first run of the race. Anyway, so 47 rather to go, and we are racing again here at Daytona. As there you go, immediately a lot of drivers diving for the low side. I wonder whether they just want to knock off 10, 20, 30 laps or so before really turning up the aggression here again. Look at the way that everybody's spacing themselves out and just taking it more carefully than when there was only a few laps to go in that first stage.
Yeah, just I think what we saw midway through that first stage of obviously the caution being thrown, drivers more so than just wanting to scramble for position and get themselves into obviously a points getting position, so the aggression was turned up. I don't think the aggression is going to continue now in this early part of this second stage. I think we'll settle in for a nice green period. Very likely after the second pit stop, at least the second regular pit stop, we'll probably see more and more drivers just trying to then begin their scramble forward again, and that's when we'll see the intensity come up. So I think maybe for the next 20 or so laps, we should keep it nice and green. With that pace car, though, especially with it being extended, we may even make 30 laps on this stint, just quietly. But Logan Gill's going to have to do some major fuel saving if he wants to do that. Cars behind him will be able to do that across this next stint here. So should be one stop to go in this race for them. Majority of them should have a tyre set in hand as well to do that.
Yeah, they should have taken a tyre set then at that caution, and whatever your last pit stop is going to be, well, not whatever your last pit stop is going to be, sorry, but whatever should be your last stop, should be the next tyre change. Now then, bit of a break in the group here, bit of disorganisation. And who was that? Trey Garber there, who just got a little bit loose off before. He's certainly moving around. Now he needs to be very careful not to lose the draft here, and he's not really got much help. Oh dear, this is getting a little bit dangerous now. The top 9 could very much steal a march on the rest. 43 goes around. We stay green. That's John Roberts, who has gone around. But look at that. The top 9 here are getting away from the rest, and they're not helping themselves back there. Zach Smathers comes through on the outside line.
Yeah, more and more cars just trying to take any little advantage that they can, and the more that these guys fight in the mid-pack, the more out of touch they're going to be to the front pack of cars as Smathers and Graber go side by side here up towards the start-finish line. That there was, I think, Chris Hone just getting unstuck a little bit here, but as they start to go too wide again, it's amazing how quickly they can get back into this double train in terms of drafting. You know, they seem out of touch for a moment, but all of a sudden they're back into things and they're back into battling for position at the front of the field.
Yeah, 20 involved at the moment. We do have a gap in the field. Quinton Morrow is on his own pretty much down the back. Joe Dyson then is leading another line with Tyler Miller involved, who was up towards the front early on. Bill Dickey the second as well, who's involved there. Still, as I say, 29 on the lead lap after that trouble a little bit earlier on. And I believe we may have even as many as 4 retirements now. Trey Martin's been in there for nearly 12 minutes. Kyle Woodward disconnected from the looks of what I'm seeing at the moment. Nathan Ford retired down on pit lane about a quarter of the way in. And Shane Johnson is still in pit lane as well after about 13 minutes. So some of these guys may well come out later on, but they are having some very long repairs. And as you say, it doesn't stay single file for long. Here comes the number 1 car on the outside of Trey Jones.
Yeah, well, we can see the 1 and 2 car at the front of the field, and Tyler Murgy just trying to push that 1 car into the lead. We'll see if he dips down below into the low line and trying to take the lead from Logan Gill here on that low line, but he's just lost the momentum there through 4 as they run up towards the start-finish line once again. So the double wide action is still pushing on forward here. I'm just trying to figure out who's leading that kind of broken train in behind this first front pack of 4 cars. I think it's Chris Mackay. It's really Chris Mackay's next to Trey Gruber, Trey Grabber, who's just now getting up onto the back of that double train once again. So there's a little bit of break in the train here on that outside line. The inside line's definitely though a lot longer, and there's probably about 20 odd cars within this battle pack as well in front of the field. But they're toing and throwing at the moment here, Ewan, and they're kind of just trading the position of P1 back and forth like school kids trading Pokemon cards. I mean, they don't know which one they want. They don't know which one they want to lead the race as well. So we'll see if they're able to make some moves as we just approach lap 40 and the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, many different ways of going about this at the moment in terms of many different leaders chopping and changing. And the look for 3 wide. Tyler Murgy has been one of the most aggressive drivers today, and he's looking down the inside there of Jones, who's for some reason just lost all his momentum. And now he's going to have, oh, that was close. He nearly had Harris slip in front of him there. Paul Harris dips back into the inside lane, and Jones regains his momentum again on the outside line with the help of Murgy just in the background. Dominique trying to get involved as well. Wasn't really involved in that first stint on the race, but now he's very much up towards the front end of the field, coming up to halfway now in the Skylark 200, the opening points race in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship.
As we run on board with Paul Harris here with the gyro cam, you can just get a view of the banking of this Daytona circuit and just trying to stay as tight as possible. You can just see minimum movements on the steering wheel, trying to allow the car to use the banking to his advantage, just to stay within this line here. Doesn't want to give up any toe of the car ahead, but he hasn't really got an opportunity to get out into the outside line as well, as Jones takes back the lead from Gill here. Will he drop down to the low line just to stick ahead of Logan Gill? He's hungry to stay on that outside line. He wants to make sure he's clear before he does drop, and he does not want to give Murgy an opportunity to take the lead from him.
Let's see who's going to lead this lap this time round. I said that the aggression had gone down when we saw the restart. think that was true at the time, but it's not looking very true anymore. Little bit loose again out through the tri-oval. Jones certainly led that lap. 39 to go. We're starting to count down rather than count up. We're still some way from the safety of pit lane and those green flag stops, which I must admit I do want to see, actually. I look forward to a round of green flag pit stops, but I'm not sure we're going to get them if we see aggression like this. Oh, and loose on the outside, Jones, and off into the infield as well goes one of those cars, and there's more contact. Surely caution there will be.
Yep.
Oh, and it's
my
on the
God.
back stretch.
That there, Chris Mackay's been involved as well. Oh my God.
Still going on.
And you just felt, Ewan, and we were almost kind of mentioning it into existence of, you know, you kind of spoke too soon there of hoping for a green pit stop, but we're too far away now for drivers to come in and take their stop and make it to the end. So the green pit stop's still on offer for us at this stage, but we roughly only went around about, that's probably the longest, no, it's still not the longest green period we have, but it was a good 10 laps of green running before that incident sort of came together there. But yeah, that was more or less with just Paul Harris looking to come back onto track and Trey Graber unfortunately getting caught out in this moment. So as they run down towards or down the back stretch, we'll see here Harris just gets doored off, and then you'll see Graber just kind of gets pushed into the back of by the 8 car and then into the side of the 91. So we've almost got to put that blame there onto the 8 car of Dustin, or Devin Trusty, who was actually a lap down. So a lapped car has actually caused this chaos now in the AC Delco entry. So yeah, we've pretty much just got to put the blame on him because he's gone into the rear of Trey and it's forced Trey off the track. So that there is an unfortunate moment. Do we see maybe a dice roll here from someone who's a bit further back?
Wow.
While Gill's coming in, he's going to take some fuel. Free pit stop, I guess. I don't think he'll take tyres, but a splash of fuel could help him just to shorten the pit stop when he comes in again, possibly under green later in the race. So it's an alternate strategy, but it's one that could definitely pay off in his favour, especially because this would be considered a free stop under the caution.
Yeah, never mind. Down towards the back, somebody going for it. The leader, Logan Gill, comes in. 4 drivers only in so far. Brody Fisher has only been in for 7 seconds. This is a longer stop from Gill. Same for Lucas Jomini, who was running with him up front. They are spending over 20 seconds down on pit lane. Maybe there's some repairs going on there or something. Maybe that's why they want to come into pit lane. It's about mid-20s still on the lead lap at the moment, by the way. So,
or he's sped into pit lane somehow. I don't know how, because we're under caution, but he's definitely what seems to have a stop-hold penalty, does the previous race leader of Logan Gill, because he's still sitting there. So something's happened, and he's had to come into pit lane. So I'm not sure what, but that's probably taken Logan Gill out of this race as he finishes his stop of about 50 seconds. So almost definitely a stop hold with about 5 seconds worth of fuel going into the car.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he's still in this race, but he's not in a stronger position as he was a few moments ago. Well, that is for sure.
With the carnage that's happened, he's not out of the woods because anything can happen amongst this front pack. There were multiple cars involved in that incident who were in this front pack. And I think if it can go his way, he could fight his way back up to the front of the field. He's going to have to use his momentum to his advantage. Obviously, he's got some more fuel in the car as well, so he will gain some natural positions through that. It could be quite an interesting... it could be very, very interesting in how this plays out.
Yeah, we'll be about 35 to go when we finish up this caution. 4th caution of the day. On average, about 10 laps a run at the moment, but it's because we've had there's a little bit of a false calculation.
Yeah. Well, I think we can take this time since we're under caution and his car was involved, Chris Mackey, just to give a shout out to his company, which sponsors this series as well, of Chop House Restorations. They're a roofing and gutter company located in Ackworth, Georgia. So they've been chosen because Chris is actually a huge Atlanta Braves fan. He loves sitting in the chop house as well. Fun fact for you though, Ewan, Chris did the roof on the owner of the Atlanta United Professional Soccer team's personal house. So of course they are the sponsor of the restart zone tonight, and we will be heading up towards the Chop House Restorations restart zone for the recommencement of this race after the caution.
Absolutely. I think the Braves won earlier, so there you go. They'll be pleased.
I'll double check. I'm not sure. I don't pay too much
today,
attention to the Braves. Let's have a look here. Atlanta Braves.
I think so. I think they won earlier. Earlier tonight.
They did.
So,
they beat the Cardinals. So good job to the
There you
Atlanta
go.
Braves. They won 6-7 against the Cardinals there. The update on the table as well. They're currently 4th in the Eastern Conference for the National League. So they're sitting pretty
That's
low.
ideal.
A couple of points currently behind the Marlins, the Mets and the Phillies, but could be in for a playoff position if they can continue a good run forward. I mean, it's early doors in the season for the for Major League Baseball anyway, so if they can just rack up some wins, then they could find themselves in that playoff position. But for drivers who want to make the playoffs here in the Xfinity Series, they've got to try and keep their cars at the front to get some crucial points in this race. Trey Jones will lead us away off the restart, Ewan, and Tyler Murgy, who's been all over the road tonight, looks to try and take that race win away from him.
Absolutely. As you're mentioning, into the Chop House Restorations restart zone they go, and into another green flag run, with Jones immediately getting Tyler Murgy to pull in behind him. And again, some spaced out restarts here today in the Skylark 200 for whatever reason, but it doesn't take long for it all to get closed back up again. You would imagine they'd be able to go at least another 15 laps now on this tank of fuel because of that caution, and Smathers not waiting around here, being aggressive, moving to the outside, side drafting and taking Pruitt with him on the outside line as well. Look at this.
As they run up too wide towards 3, here comes Smathers, he's into the lead as they run round 3 and up towards turn 4 as well. As you said, it doesn't take long for them to get too wide. It does look a bit scrambled further back, but well, they want to get into this two-line astern once again and just get back into the rhythm of things. The most laps we've gone under green thus far is around about 11 or 12 laps. We'll see if we can make any more than that off this restart period. If we go 12 laps, we'll get to around about lap 58. That's a crucial lap for them to get home tonight. So, actually no, lap 53 is a crucial lap. So, in the next few laps we can see, if a caution is thrown, we may see drivers coming in, take their final stop of fuel to make it home to the checkered flag as well. But for Jones and Murgy, they've got the challenge of Smathers, Hone and Pruitt alongside them. Good to see, though, that Paul Harris is not out of the woods yet after that caution incident. He's still within the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, I think the drivers are going to try and wait as long as possible now, effectively, to make their pit stops so that they can try and do it under caution if there is another one before they run out of fuel. But that should be another 10-15 laps away. They should be good to make it into the final 20 laps here. Pretty small outside line at the moment, but Smathers getting a good push from Pruitt here. They've just got disconnected now, though. Look at this. It's the 1 on the 80 again, leading 1 and 2. In fact, it's 2 on the outside as well, looking like that's a bit of late 2000s 2x2 sort of racing on a super speedway. Not quite, but you get the point. Real big pushes at the front of the group here, which is breaking away from the rest. Look at this. They really want to lead. The rest of them sort of hanging back at the moment.
Yeah, I think they're almost waiting for the storm to arrive, aren't they? They can see the clouds in the air, and you're waiting for when the downpour is going to happen at this stage. We've been praised in the chat, Rhiannon just saying, getting sports ball updates while watching cars go real left, real fast. We get it all going on here. As we often do. We try and give some updates on other sports out there as well. It kind of brings the real life feel to it, doesn't it, really? Give some sporting updates whilst we're racing along as well. So, but yeah, I mean, at this point, how can you pick a winner? Because we've had that many lead changes and that many cautions thus far. The scramble for the race win could be on, and I think anyone within this top 10 could take it, especially Zach Smathers, who's on that outside line in the Wendy's entry. Doesn't want to make a Baconator out of this. He wants to make it a win. So, but Trey Jones will have something to say about that.
Oh, it just aggressively slides into the third place in that low line, and Smathers now is just had to wait for somebody else to come up to the back of him now and start to push. That will be Morrow, I think, yeah, in the 17 car. So they've gotten friends again, Smathers, but the front two are breaking away just a little bit. They've got their noses in front. In fact, Pruitt's going to get into third, so inside line certainly the place to be. As it stands, Smathers sort of stuck there with only one person helping him. Look at this, very efficient, the inside line. They are very much pulling away now.
As they run up towards turn 3, you just see the pressure that's starting to build at the front of the field as well, and more cars getting involved here in and amongst this battle for the race lead. Still plenty of laps to go. They lap 50 of 80, 30 laps to go. With a caution, they could make it home from here on fuel with another pit stop, but as we said, it's going to be around about lap 53 that will be the critical lap to get home if we were to go green the whole way here tonight. I don't think we're going to see anyone coming that early, Ewan. I think they'll run the fuel out as much as they can and then try and have premium tyres to the end of this race. That's looking like the optimal strategy at this stage, but if a caution is thrown, well, spanners are going to be thrown in the works.
There's a little bit of movement in the background, and that's it. Oh, and there might be a caution back there. Somebody in the fence down the back stretch. We get away with it. Gill's involved back here, by the way, just trying to pick himself back through the field again. Logan Gill in that 2 car. You see him in the wheel and entry, the American flag on his machine. Oh, and in the background as well for 4. Loose for one of the drivers, maybe a lap down. As I mentioned earlier, plenty of drivers laps down at the moment. 25 only on the lead lap as things stand, as the race begins to take its toll. Jones with a little bit of a gap there on the inside, but doesn't try to take that up, not quite anyway, and he will get back single file again. Again, a bit of a breakaway for the first 15 or so. It's down the back where the trouble's been so far.
Yeah, we can see that Joe Dyson, Tyler Miller, Jeff Hall just getting into their own little pack of cars here. More and more cars kind of scrambling for position as well. And don't worry, Ewan, I don't know about yourself, but the irony is not lost on me. We have such an American combination of car and track with the least American commentary duo that we could offer here for them as well, myself and you. So couldn't have asked for a better combo though, of just full-on freedom for the track and car as Tyler Murchie's now taking the race lead, and then just an Englishman and an Australian with a British citizenship that they could have here. So it's not lost.
We have far less freedom, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely. We definitely have. The US is the only country with freedom, apparently.
Meanwhile, Tyler Berge leads the way into the travel. I did notice that myself as well, I must admit. Trouble!
Is that Chris Home?
Is that car going to come back into the field? It might well do. They slow down below the yellow line. Oh my word, we get away with it. That is one of the big saves. We're unlikely to get a bigger save than that this season. That was pretty unbelievable how we got away with that without a caution. We might still do. The 45 car just got clipped there and we do get one.
Wow. Well, it was almost a recreation of the big moment prior to the caution at the stage break, and Chris was just waiting for an opportunity to rejoin the track there, and it just seems he didn't quite get it as we clicked away. It was a contact with Joe Dyson, it seems, so he's definitely been sucked up into the trouble here as he just gets spun round. Or he just spins around the 43 car, so it wasn't even the 70 car's fault. He's just kind of been caught up in the wrong moment.
Yeah, I again spoke too soon that they'd all saved it. Hadn't quite saved it, it turns out, in the back end of the pack.
So
Berge's still racing around trying to catch the pace car, isn't he?
I think now, the fact that we're past critical lap, Ewan, if we don't see the front runners come in, this could be a massive blunder for their race. Because they've currently got the free pit stop right at the point where they could take enough fuel to get home. Now, do they take fuel and no tyres in the hopes that there is another caution? Or do we think they just go the whole shebang?
I think fuel and tyres it would be for me anyway. Well, it depends how much fuel you need, actually. They'll probably fill the tank to about 90% of its actual capacity. Sorry, not its actual capacity. It's limited capacity, limited to 80% here for this race, so whatever that is in litres. Then, yeah, and there's the pace car. They'll get the option now. So if that is enough to cover the fuel, then yes, I would take 4 tyres, but maybe just 2. And ideally, if you're going to win this race, you're going to stay out the pit lane for the rest of the day. So 25 to go, and expect to see almost everybody in here. If you're a lap down, though, use this as a good chance to stay out and get a lap back, because you can be pretty sure the lead lap drivers are coming in. There might be another caution to help you later on as well, if at all possible. At the moment, every single of those leaders are in. 25 on the lead lap, and it looks like they're all in, apart from Miles McAdams, who has decided to stay out for some reason. He's the only driver to do so. How long are these stops going to be, though? Just 9 seconds for Tyler Murgy, who's making his way out now. Cody Pruitt might well be just in front of him, and is. So, well, he was close, actually. Well, they'll have to figure that out between themselves. It's going to be either Pruitt or Murgy to lead the field of those who stopped, and they can't quite decide. It looks like Murgy won the race off pit lane.
So Paul Harris here has taken tyres as well. I saw him stop for about 15.5 seconds. Jones was stopped for about 10 seconds too, so he's probably taken 2 tyres in that stop. Murgy, Pruitt, Gill saving the tyres for possibly a late break safety car to come down pit road and get the fresh rubber. So this is going to be an interesting strategy. We've hit the 25 to go marker here at Daytona. 5th caution of the race as well. Fifth caution. Technically, I was going to say technically we're on our 4th caution, but the stage break, well, that was actually an actual caution. It wasn't even a stage break caution. It was just we had one right before the stage. So, but Murgy, Pruitt, Gill not taking tyres. Jones and Harris did. I put the momentum at the moment with Jones and Harris on that fresh rubber.
Yeah, I think it's a good call at this stage. You're not going to get another chance to take tyres, in my opinion, unless you sort of just taking
not a guaranteed chance, at least. You're not guaranteed to get another caution. Yeah. And even if there is one, I think you're best off staying out unless you've got damage and need to take on some repairs. I think if you're going to win this, the driver who wins this race, I think, in my opinion, is going to stay out from now to the finish. That's a strange call for whoever that is, a lap down coming into pit lane now. No, they don't. What are you doing?
Well, that was silly, wasn't it? What was that all about?
Why are you... That's like he was trying to bait people to come in who are a lap ahead of him, and then he's come back on and he's just made contact. And this is one of the big reasons why I don't like people when they bait trying to come into pit lane, because often enough you end up you can make contact with someone as you rejoin the track, and it seems unsportsmanlike to me, Ewan, for someone to try and do that. And then you have to ask the question, why are you doing that when you're a lap down? Like, why are you trying to bait people into pit lane? You're not the race leader. You might think you are, but you're not. So, I don't know. Interesting decision.
I can understand a bit more if they didn't quite understand what was going on there. As in, they thought they were going to come into pit lane. They realised they didn't. That wouldn't have been the right call. And then they tried to back out of it. But you've still got to look at what's on your right-hand side there, and not jump back onto the circuit like that. Anyway, B Strong gets back onto the 1 lap down. Anyway. Or was that 2 laps down? Yeah, so gone from 3 to 2 laps down?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No?
He'll come back around and he'll be 1 lap down when he crosses the line.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Not, getting my fingers out here trying to count. Let's see, still in the race. We still have 33 at least in the race. Not sure we've got Devon Trusty anymore, seems to have retired from the day. Still long stops going on for Trey Martin and Shane Johnson, who seem to be out of the race for good. Ronnie Clark seems to have disconnected as well, so I think it's going to be 33 from here to the finish, but it's a pretty good number to have. 23 laps to go, and as if we haven't had it enough already, the tension and the intensity going to ramp up all over again here as the final laps of the Skylark 200 come upon us. The final quarter of the race, just over 50 miles to go now in this 200-mile event, and we get once again into the Chop House Restorations restart zone here from Daytona. Tyler Murgy gets the green flag waving again, 23 to go, with him leading the field in the first round of the season.
So as we just get restarted here and they enter towards turn 1, How is the fresh tyres going to benefit Paul Harris, Trey Jones and Nicholas Meadows as well, as Gill, Murgy and Pruitt have gone without them off this restart here, Ewan. So it's an interesting call. It could be one that costs them in the end, especially if we go green the whole way, because they are going to be without some, or they're going to have some screaming tyres on board those cars if we manage to go without a caution towards the checkered flag in this race.
Let's see if we can go all the way. It'd be an extraordinary run of racing if we do, but let's hope so, because it'd be very entertaining as well. No runs on the outside as things stand. Jones completely alone in the one car, going backwards, needs some friends out there, but we'll get some in that outside line in a moment. You can see Harris just having a look, and now Pruitt is as well. We're starting to really ramp things up here. Gill's going to try and block maybe, and this is where it gets difficult. When you've got such a line like this, you can start to block, and that is what Gill's doing at the moment. Now going back to the push from Murgy, who just stays stuck to that yellow line on the inside, and now the outside's starting to go. Gill goes up to block. Oh, it's a big block as well. Gets a bit loose. He gets a big shove into the lead.
Yeah, so Logan Gill, we questioned earlier him taking the stop from the race lead. Well, he's back up the front now and able to battle his way forward at this stage of the race as well. It's good to see him back up there with Tyler Murgy here. Line astern, 2 Camaros, then 2 Mustangs right in behind them, and then a little bit further back we have our first Toyota in the P9 position. But you almost have to wonder, as the yellow flags thrown with Quinton Morrow, who's been involved further back in the 17 entry. So 6th caution of the race. Let's have a quick look how this has happened. Hopefully we're not under caution for too long. Oh my God! Why is it always turn 4? Why is it they get to turn 4 and they decide, oh yeah, let's just have a crash. Let's just have an incident down here. But that definitely was not just an incident. And you have a feeling, Ewan, as well, time certain as we are, you have a feeling it may be caution after caution here if they don't settle down.
Yeah, it might well be. Do we have a time limit, by the way?
Oh, well, I know that you do. in terms of when you wanted this race to end, but hopefully we get a nice green period to the end now. I mean, we don't want to be going caution after caution. Eventually, it will get to the point now. If it is caution after caution, we'll go single file. But yeah, just a little bit messy off that restart, I think, and hopefully they just take a breath down, settle in for the next run home.
It's going to be like this to the checker flag, I think, by the looks of things to me. It's just yeah, difficult to see a way in which this gets sorted out any cleaner from here to the finish, really, because everyone can see the objective in front of them. Again, at the start of the race, even the stage is 30 laps away. The end of the race, 80 laps away. It's at least an hour of racing. You're not too aggressive at that stage, but as soon as you get later on in the day, less than 20 laps to go, it's going to be pretty frequent from here on in, I would say, to the end here at Daytona. Either way, if we're able to, Hamish, just over 60 laps to gone and just about 20 to go. A couple of cautions still to go before we go back green. So let's just have another quick message from our sponsors before we return and come back, as I say, with that restart from this 6th caution of the day.
Only getting started when it's midnight, keeping it tight. If people wanna go for war, it can get dark, but we stay bright. Coming like a night, it's on sight. Ever touch my sleeve? And they wanna disagree when it's clear that I'm speaking facts. Man like me, I'm proactive. Never gonna stop till I see the big man's on flats.
Hop on the front door, it's like midnight. Don't lose your grip, cause you might fall out again. Off-white whip, need for speed. I'm not switching the lane. Pick up the pace, bro, like that.
Well, absolutely fantastic of Skylark AV once again for sponsoring the round here tonight for the Daytona 200. Shout out as well to the other series sponsors too. Hawkers Automotive, family-owned automotive repair shop out of Fort Collins, Colorado, specialising in all makes and models. Over 45 years of experience, we fix everything from simple repairs like brakes and oil changes to diagnosing and repairing more complicated vehicle issues. We also specialise in full exhaust repair as well as custom-built exhaust systems for whatever application you have. Take pride in our work and taking care of our customers' needs. Visit hawkerauto.com for more information for your everyday automotive needs. That's Hawkers Automotive. Blue Line Technologies as well, 1866 Blue LTI. Charlotte business, power up your future with Blue Line Technologies. Since 2013, we've been your go-to for cutting-edge IT solutions right here in the Queen City. From bulletproof cybersecurity to seamless Apple and Windows support, our expert team keeps your business running smoothly. Whether you're a startup or a Fortune 100, need help fast? Our award-winning help desk resolves 75% of calls on the first ring. Call 866 Blue LTI or visit bluelti.com today. Blue Line Technology, Charlotte's trusted IT partner, and as well to Skylark AV. Skylark designs, builds and installs the most progressive AVL systems available. We founded Skylark in 2005. Our goal was to build a company rooted in relationships. Since our beginning, we have always regarded our clients as friends and families. To that end, we build a company that looks way beyond business transactions. Our work is all about people. Rather than focusing on building client lists and managing sales leads, we build relationships. We know that your project is more than a spreadsheet and drawings. It's all about the vision of your organization and the people that are involved. There are no cookie cutter clients, so we don't have cookie cutter solutions. We sit down with each client and listen to their vision. We turn these conversations into solutions that best meet their long-term goals while staying within their short-term budget. So why are relationships so important? Understanding your vision, both long-term and short-term, is essential to achieving success at every milestone in a project. From design to install, it's crucial, but relationship matters after the fact as well. We don't just design, install, and then disappear. We are in it for the long haul. We are in extension for your team. Skylark AV, the round sponsor here tonight. As we get ready to go green once again here, Ewan, well, we look to be in for a chaos-filled final 18 laps. Be 17 to go when we cross the start-finish line. Once again, a massive thank you to those series sponsors as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have them on board for a great start to the year, or the season rather. It's not really a year, 4 months or so of great racing up to October 4th when we go to Homestead and finish the season there. Our playoff run of 3 races. It's not a win-in, you're in situation. The winner tonight will not have a guaranteed place in the playoffs, but they have a good chance and a good load of points to get them on the way to the top 10 where you need to be, and indeed 5 playoff points, which will help them should they get there. Now then, 17 to go when they get to the line, and it's going to be Logan Gill, who was at the back of the field only about 20 laps ago or so after speeding into the pit lane, making a slightly strange pit call. He's now leading again in the 2-car, leads another lap, brings them to green. How long's this green flag run going to be, and how intense is it going to be as well? I think I know the answer to the second one. With 17 laps to go, Gill comes up to try and block both lanes.
We can just see here off this restart, Ewan, already side-by-side action as they run around turn 3. And the pressure's starting to build at the front of the field here. We mentioned that, you know, the scramble's been important tonight off these restarts, and just trying to keep your car clean's been important as well. Any small movement out of place, any little minor mistake, just even the smallest inch offline could cause massive drama for these front runners as Murgy, Gill and Pruitt are keeping it side by side nice and close. Paul Harris is in there too on that fresh rubber, so is Trey Jones, but it's trying to find a line around the outside of these cars for those guys to get up towards the front of the field.
Yeah, and the side draft going on as well is quite remarkable here as they come down the backstretch again. Getting so close to one another. Murgy again, one of the most aggressive drivers we've seen here tonight. Again, don't see really the point of side drafting the car in front of you when you're getting side drafted yourself by Pruitt. But anyway, through 3 and 4, now the outside line just with a bit of momentum losing, going away from it rather, because couple of guys dipping in and out, not quite committed here. So Gill is just about going to have it at the line, but that is mighty close. 15 to go.
Yeah, they're getting a bit too close for comfort here. You almost feel that could be a caution on offer for us very soon if they don't keep these cars nice and clean. Good to see Trey Jones and Trey Jaber up there as well, or Trey Graber, sorry, I should say, up there. Of course, Graber was involved in an incident earlier in the race, but he is back in the hunt now for a race win too. But Gill's feeling the pressure from Murgy in behind, as well as Pruitt and Harris as they run down the back stretch up towards turn 3. It's anyone's game still in this race, and sometimes you've got to decide, well, who do you want to help and who do you want to haunt? For Harris, he may need to decide just to give some bump drafting here to Murgy if he wants to fight his way forward, because he's not going to find a line to get past those guys otherwise. He'll have to give the support to the car ahead if he wants to try and get the 91 car into the lead.
Now the help is coming here on the outside.
Gill and Murgy into
Gill's
the wall!
into the fence. The big one happens into turn 1. Somehow we're not under caution yet either. We're not under caution. Now we are. That took a while. That took a while, but finally it's happened. The big one's happened. Gill got turned into the fence really hard there.
Yep, and the only person you can blame for that, we're going to have to pull the sneaky of just reversing here because it's not giving me a point here. The only person that you can blame for that moment right there is the 80 car of, where has he gone? Oh, now I can't find him. Tyler Murgy. That is the only car that we can blame for this moment here, as we just get ready for this, because he comes down and then just turns and dumps the 2 car into the wall, and it's carnage after that.
Wow. Why did it take so long for the caution to come out? I can't quite understand.
I think it was deciding if it wanted to give us a caution or not, to be honest. I don't know if it really decided if it wanted to. But what this has now done, Ewan, with 13 to go, it's put Pruitt in the hot seat at the front of the field. It's put Graver in a good position, as well as Meadows, Morrow, Domini. The big names that got caught up in that wreck. Obviously, Tyler Murgy, Logan Gill, Paul Harris, as well as dropped positions through that as well. So a couple of drivers just caught up in it. But that there was, no other words for it. Logan Gill, unfortunately, the race lead, has just been dumped into turn 1 and put into the wall hard.
He was. That's a real shame for him as well, because he was running well. And hopefully, for his sake, he has got a fast repair, but he's been in there for a minute and a half already, and I don't think he does. So he'll be there for a while. And so will a number of the other competitors, unfortunately, here tonight. Some long repairs happening down on pit lane. We're going to have, at the very most, 18 cars on the lead lap, maybe even less than that. And that might just give us a nice long green flag run to the finish. But you've got to remember the lap cars are going to get themselves involved as well here. Pruitt's going to lead a few laps then. And really now, all that's left at the front of the field is not many of those who've run up front so far, but those who have survived, really.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the name of the game tonight, is that survival factor. Trying to survive this long run has been absolutely crucial as Paul Harris comes back into pit lane. He has taken tyres on this stop as well here, Ewan. So Paul just getting the tyres onto the car. I know that was the last time he took them, so he's just in. We'll see if this is just a tyre stop to get some tyres going again, but could very well maybe just trying to fix up some damage at this stage too. Pruitt, Graber, Meadows and Morrow will be the top 4 for this restart. Pruitt's been up there all day. Graber's kind of snuck his way up there. He's up 23. Quinton Morrow, through keeping it clean, up 32 positions at this stage. Most positions gained for this race, which is an incredible effort from him.
It is. It's always a great thing I enjoy actually about over racing is looking at those guys who have made their way through the field most. Quinton Morrow didn't get a time in qualifying. Not sure whether by design or not, but he's moved through, as you say, over 30 places, and that is a very, very good job indeed for him. So at the end of this lap, the lights should go off, and when the pace car pulls in, there will be 10 laps to go. Is there going to be another caution? You just get the feeling that there just might be here, because we've seen so much of it today. So far, an average caution coming out every 10 laps or so. If that stays to form, then there's going to be another one before the finish.
Now, do we think Logan and Tyler are having a bit of a tiff in pit lane here, Ewan, after that moment? maybe some words or some fists thrown down there.
Probably,
Yeah.
I would guess.
A very, very David Coulthard, Michael Schumacher-esque moment in pit lane for them, I would say. Paul Harris might have some words for them as well, but we'll see. We'll see how we pan out across this next 11 laps or so. I'd say we're going to be going green on the next lap by, so we'll probably have 10 to go when we get back up and running again. Of course, one green, white checkered in place tonight. So if we do get a caution at the end of the race, we'll only have one green, white checkered scenario. After that, we'll just end the race under caution if we have to, as they get set up to go green once again on the next lap by.
Absolutely. With just 17 on the lead lap, from what I can see. Some long repairs been happening for some of those further down. As you say, Paul Harris, William Hawker, Chris Hone trying to stay on the lead lap in contention, but they're pitting frequently to try and repair damage. So it's going to be a very, very small number of cars running out front at the moment, and the field is going to feel quite small as an entirety. 39 started, so we're dipped well below 30 now in the field. As I say, only about 7 rows of healthy cars, which is going to make this maybe a bit less crowded. Might help everybody get to the finish in one piece, hopefully, over the next 10 laps. It's going to be an entertaining next 10 laps anyway, whatever happens.
Yeah, I think the entertainment factor's definitely been turned up to a maximum. It's definitely at 11 out of 10 as well. But we'll see. We'll see how this race pans out. Big shout out though to everyone who is watching along with us. 41 watching along with us at the moment, so great to have you all out there. And if you are fresh to the channel or you've been here for a while and you're enjoying what you're watching, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe as well, and the bell icon so you're notified whenever we go racing here on MotorMouth Broadcasting. Plenty of racing to come your way across the week from a multitude of leagues based out of the US too. Next time I'll be on your screens here with MotorMouth will be it'll be Tuesday for the US people out there. I have to remember that the US is a day behind me. It'll be Wednesday for the GT Challenge out of High Point Racing. That'll be the next time I'm on your screens, myself and Ron back in the booth for that. And then the great Jim Cunningham returns on Thursday for the High Point IMSA series as well. But 10 laps to go, Ewan, as we get ready to go green flag once again.
Absolutely. Into the Chop House Restorations restart zone again, and we are green flag racing again, and that's a good start from Graber on the outside. We've not seen very much of Trey Graber here tonight, but just popping up when required. Pruitt, though, has got the help from Meadows, and that's going to be the key point of difference here. Pruitt's going to be pushed back to the lead again through NASCAR turns 1 and 2.
As we run round the oval once again up towards the back stretch, who is going to have the momentum towards the end of this race? Who is going to have the momentum in pushing their way forward? Can we go green the whole way to the checkered flag? We hope so, but Meadows has been on a run of form tonight, up 2 spots already. Graber just in behind them, Lucas Domini as well, and then Quinton Morrow inside the top 5. All up double-digit positions here in this race. Oh, as we said that though, who was that for the big one that time by? Chris Mackay's been involved. A couple of other cars up there too, including Paul Harris, who's off the road.
Wow.
Stage 1 winner, arguably out of this race now.
Well, he already had damage because he was in the last caution coming down pit lane regularly. So that'll be even more to add to the list there. I think there were probably 5 lead lap drivers involved in that as the pace car comes roaring past.
The safety
Mike
car
Rinker,
driver
I
just sent it onto the ball. Oh my God.
It's always quite comical
It
when the caution comes out of that kind of place. Mike Rinker, I think, was involved. Paul Harris definitely was, as we saw.
Yeah.
Chris Hone, Charles Rinker, and Nate Owen, I think, all from the lead lap. 5 drivers from the lead lap. I think they were all caught up in one way or another. Whether some of them just had to slow down a lot to avoid the incident or actually got damage, I'm not sure. But that will have taken out potentially close to a third of the lead lap field.
Yeah, just takes out some contenders for the end of this race. As we said, once we go green again, probably going to be 7 laps to go. And I mean, we're hopeful, aren't we, Ewan, that we can get green flag running for the rest of this race. But at the moment, it just feels like it's going to be caution after caution until the green white checkered is thrown at the end of this race. And it'll be apropos for it to happen. but we don't want it to end under caution. We want it to end under green and have a photo finish in the end.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do. A green-white fleckered shag, maybe later on.
Yeah, maybe later on. Who knows? I blame COVID. That's what I blame. It is rotted
still existed.
It's rotted my brain over the last 2 days. It's the third time I've had it. Not the worst that I've had it. That was the last time I had it, which ended up in me having a day trip to hospital. But yeah, definitely not being as affected this time by it. But don't particularly want it again. It's not very nice.
No. Not ideal.
No, definitely not.
No.
And yourself in the league, I mean, very gracious. Allowed me to start it a bit later just so I could let my meds set in when I woke up this morning. So massive obviously thank you to you for allowing that, and then also for the league as well for letting us start a bit later this morning for me and this evening for the American viewers out there as well. So but yeah, I mean, it's been a caution fest tonight, Ewan, and of course next time we're on the road out at Nashville, could be a very similar scenario, being a mile long speedway. Not a short track, but yeah, just a sort of mid-sized regular speedway, which could lead to a bit more of a caution fest once again.
Maybe, yeah. Unsure actually how many cautions at Michigan in the Clash last week. Actually, I'll just check that actually, since it's relevant now.
Well, if it was a
over the
lot,
course of
it
about
may
an hour
be the whole season is going to be like that. So yeah, but hopefully not.
Well, you can decide whether it's a lot or not. 6 cautions in 50 laps at Michigan.
That's statistically that's a lot. Like that's one every sort of 8 laps or so. So yeah, that's not ideal. Nashville.
No.
Whoever the pace car driver is should be getting paid double for being able to drive so often. So. But yeah, we'll see how this season pans out. Hopefully they'll sort themselves out throughout the season. They'll get used to racing around each other as well. Getting ready for the restart period though here, Ewan. It'll be 6 to go and we go green. And after 5 laps we'll get our white flag. If we get a caution right on the end, we'll get a green-white checkered scenario. So hopefully we get to go green to the end.
Well, I can't say it's looking particularly likely at the moment. 6 laps to go. Just feel like we're going to be going on a little bit longer than the advertised 200 miles. But let's see. 6 laps to go when we get to the start line. And as you can see, very few left in the field. As far as lead lap drivers goes, there's still 14. But under the caution, we've had 3 into the pit lane trying to repair... 2 into the pit lane on the most recent time round. Paul Harris certainly is trying to still repair damage, but for the others, they look like they're okay. So, yeah, we're 13 healthy cars, maybe I'd say 14 on the lead lap. It's looking a lot less crowded as it did earlier on in the day.
Well, we'll see who can take home the chocolates at the end of this one. Cody Pruitt, Nicholas Meadows will be on the front row as we get into this restart period as well. Of course, the Chop House restart zone getting ready to get us underway once again. Graber, the top-seeded Toyota at the moment, up into P3. Domini's up there too. Quinton Marrow, who he mentions, up over 30 positions in this race after a fantastic run here tonight. But the top 2 cars, they started inside of the top 6. They're both up 2 positions thus far. Green flag conditions, though, when they come up to the line. Let's see who's going to make it to the end and if we can stay green to the checkered flag with 6 to go at Daytona.
Here we go again, and it's Pruitt who immediately has the help of Nicholas Meadows just in behind. Side by side for third between Dominic and Graber in that third place, and there you go. They're going to slip through on the inside. No help for Dominic at all. He might have to tuck into the inside line here. Not quite. They're looking for the run maybe. Graber's going to get a very big run indeed. If indeed that's what we're going to see here. Now we see some outside lines starting to form, and that's exactly what you expect to see. Look at that. outside line for Zach Smathers, who's leading it. And Meadows going to get the big push now. That's what he's been waiting for on the outside line, and here they go.
Oh, the 36 almost opening the door for a 3-wide moment through turn 3. As we run it round turn 4 up towards the start-finish line, 5 laps to go. And the front runners, well, it's anyone's game at this stage. Smathers and Pruitt side by side across the start-finish line. And we've already gone 2 lines astern up towards the end of this race. As I said, 5 laps to go, anyone's game at this stage. And you just wonder who's going to try and take advantage and get their car up towards the P1 position.
Down the backstretch again. Some lap down cars pulling out the way there very graciously, actually, coming up to the tri-oval that time, just to make sure they stay out of the way here. Look at that small lead group now. 13 still on the lead lap. Brody Fisher is into pit lane, repairing even more damage. So this is a very small front group now, coming to 4 to go, but it's so far Pruitt leading on the inside line. Smathers trying to get that run on the outside, and they're moving around quite a lot again towards the tri-oval. That's where it gets dangerous around this end of the circuit. We've not seen too many wrecks on the backstretch so far. 4 to go in this first race of the season.
They're looking good at the moment. They're closely contested as the 36 makes contact, and it's a massive shot onto turn 2. A multitude of cars out of the top 10. We've stayed green. The caution is thrown, but it is a multitude of cars, and look at the 4 cars that somehow got through it. The top 3 of Pruitt, Meadows, Smathers, and then Paul Harris as well. It'll be green, white, checkered when we get going again here, Ewan. And you almost have to wonder who is going to be the benefactor of this restart as we watch this incident back again.
Now, this started a little bit further up, but this is back in the background. Harris getting into the back of one of the cars slowing down, and Harris actually one of the ones benefiting. Look at the 21 car riding the wall up there.
Now, wall riding's normally against the regulations of oval racing here in iRacing, but I feel like you've got to give him a 10 out of 10 for the effort. I mean, he has literally ridden the wall. I mean, that there was Cars 3 Lightning McQueen-esque from him, just to get that car up there, as that's when he was pulled off the track. So, it's we mentioned there was 14 cars on the lead lap. We've cut that in half now, Ewan. We've got 7 on the lead lap towards the end of this race.
Wow. Says a lot about this race, doesn't it? And how attritional it has been. As you mentioned, 4 cars that got through cleanly. I would say Paul Harris's car is still pretty damaged, so I'm not going to describe his car as a fully clean one. I'd say maybe only Pruitt, Meadows and Smathers actually have a decent race car at the moment, as we have our 9th caution of the day. It's going to be a dash to the finish, and we will see who comes out on top in this situation. But this will be lap 78. We're seeing 2 to go. We would be normally seeing 2 to go at this stage in the Skylark 200. And there you go, 2 to go, it just so, and then flicks back to 3 as we wait for the green-white checker in 2 laps' time.
So, on that, well, we're probably going to go, 81, 82 laps. That means we've had a caution on average every 9 laps of this race. And that is insane to me. That 10% of this race has been under caution. Like, it's insane that can happen. If you're gonna even give a pick of who could win this race at this point, Ewan, I mean, top 5: Harris, Hone, Smithers, Meadows, Pruitt. Uke is up there. Rink is in pit lane. Dyson's a lap down. So, out of the top 5, who do you think's most likely to get the momentum to the checkered flag and take the race win?
I think it could be a situation where holding on from the front might be easier, actually, than coming from behind to try and overtake. So I'll go with Cody Pruitt from this point. It's going to be one of those where there's not many involved, as we've seen, not many healthy race cars left. And so actually blocking from the front, which Pruitt might be able to do, might actually be the best play. So, yeah, I think it could be quite difficult to overhaul the leader from this point onwards.
Yeah, I think a bit difficult to get past The only way that they can realistically do it is if you have a late lunge onto the outside line and you get some momentum. But to be able to line up the momentum through turn 4 just to get a run towards the lead on the last lap, that's going to be a very difficult task for the cars behind you.
Yeah, it really is. So let's see how they play it further back. Having said that, Smathers has been pretty aggressive so far, and if there is someone who could do it, then maybe it is going to be him. But there's so many damaged cars. Only 8 on the lead lap, rather. Mike Rinker has just been in for another minute and a half, trying to get that car back to some form of fighting shape here, but there's so few still in the race at the moment. If he can still actually stay in the race, he might gain quite a lot of places at this stage because there's so many retirements, but yeah, we've got realistically, I think 3 or 4 for the win, really.
Yeah, I think it's that top 4, although the 70 car is within that battle as well. That top 4 are definitely the ones riding the momentum at the moment. The fact that Paul Harris has stayed in this race to this point after so many ups and downs is quite impressive, I think, for him. Obviously, he's had the pace of the day. He started the car on pole. He'll want to try and back up his stage win with a race win as well, but it's going to be difficult starting in the second row back here off this restart.
Yeah, it definitely is. Let's see what goes on as they make their way down the backstretch now towards 2 to go again now. It is going to be Pruitt Meadows on the front, and there's about 10 of them, well, exactly 10 actually, you can count them, on the circuit still.
We joked earlier of going 1, 2, 3, 4, but you actually can now by how many are up there.
Yes. Almost comical, really. Get your fingers out and count now.
Ironically, that's the amount of cars that are actually left in this race. There's only 10 left within this battle pack. There are a couple further down who are just trying to traverse their way around, but this top 5 or this top sort of 8 cars on this lead lap, they're the ones we've got to focus on because they're the ones who can take the win.
Absolutely. Let's see if this is the last attempt as we go into overtime. Brought to you, sponsored by Blue Line Technologies. Normally in a normal day we'll be sponsoring the white flag, but it's overtime here from Daytona. The conclusion of the Skylark 200. We are racing again. 2 to go. Is it going to be this time, or will we need another attempt? Pruitt immediately with Meadows right behind, and here's where the blocking could come into it. Immediately the single file begins because there are not very many healthy race cars left in this one.
And the lack of healthy race cars really takes away the percentage of you being able to be pushed forward or dragged forward by the cars ahead of you as well as they come down the back stretch. The cars who are in contention just trying to build up the momentum here. It'll be 1 lap to go when they cross the line. It should be white flag next time by, which means we should get to the checkered flag as the 22 is just pushing the 98 car along. And he'll be hoping that he can build up some momentum and maybe, just maybe, shake and bake his way past the 98 car right on the line as we head up towards the white flag at Daytona. 1 lap to go here in the Skylark 200.
2.5 miles to settle this, and Meadows goes to the outside immediately on the triangle here. The white flag waves, and now he's going to be freight train Pruitt. Oh, I thought he had a good chance of blocking here on the inside, but doesn't look like it here. Meadows on the outside with that initial momentum. Smathers pushes him as well, but Pruitt's got help here. It's all for the lead at the moment. 3 wide, and there's a crash in the background. It's going to be Smathers into the barriers here. He goes spinning up to the inside, and suddenly there's no help on the outside. Pruitt does have that help, though, on the inside from the 33 car. That's not a car on the lead lap by the looks of things to me here. And Meadows is going to be shoved out wide. It looks like Pruitt's going to be pushed to glory here in the Skylark 200 at Daytona. Up towards the triangle they come. Pruitt goes for one last block. Meadows for one last run. And nose to nose. And Pruitt takes it. Pruitt wins the first race of the season. They crash through the triangle on the last lap, but he wins at Daytona. Cody Pruitt with the 40 points to start the season. He immediately starts his half donuts as well. He wins the first race of the season at Daytona.
Seems appropriate, doesn't it, that they crash across the start-finish line. After that race, for them to go that long and to battle for the race lead, to crash across the line, is about as apropos as you could ask for it. But Cody Pruitt takes the race win in the 98 car, gets home some crucial points and some playoff points for later in the season as well. What a race it was, a long affair here at Daytona, and Pruitt is your race winner here this evening after, well, what can only be described as a crash fest, Ewan, tonight, but a great race nonetheless.
It was a great race to watch. Only 7 on the lead up at the end. Let's just have a replay of the way to the. Oh, there's early on in the day. In fact, Cody Pruitt in the mid pack.
I was setting up for B-roll, but we'll have a quick look at some of those last incidents just quickly here before we get to some B-roll. So this was on the back stretch leading up towards turn 3. So there was the 91 or the Smathers car and the 81 entry off the road, and then ends up down there. And then if we look and follow around this lead pack once again, we'll see how tight these guys got to the start-finish line as they battle their way forward too. I am going to limit this to the podium finishes. We're not going to chat to everybody in the waiting room because otherwise we'll be here all day. But for Pruitt, he just got it ahead right at the start-finish line. And then there was the contact previous and or just after it. And that's then caused the carnage. So an incredibly chaotic race, I think we can say, is the least ironic. Yeah. Not ironic, but the nicest way we can make it pretty much is that it was chaotic. And I think when we look at the results, it was quite an interesting one in terms of the results of that race. Why is it already there? We go back to there. Thank you. So Cody Pruitt takes the race win to Nicholas Meadows and Mike Rinker. Rinker up 28 positions into P3. Most positions gained in the provisional race results. Paul Harris, Joe Dyson as well for the top 5. Chris Hone, Zach Smathers, Logan Yuka, Brody Fisher, and then Chris Mackay made up our top 10 as well. Unfortunately, Ewan's had to step away and head off. That's all good. Thanks so much to Ewan, though, for being along board for this race. So I'll take over and look after the post-race interviews as well. For the rest of the results, though, Bailey Brannon, Michael Holtz, Trey Grabber, Quinton Marrow and William Hawker then for the top 15. Lucas Dominy, Ryan Simmons, Trey Jones for our top 18 in the end as well, as we then look back to Trey Jones, Tyler Strong, Nate Owen, Charles Rinker, as well to B Strong, Logan Gill, Tyler Murgy, Cody Nelson, Bill Dickey and Tyler Miller for the top 27 in the end, with John Roberts, Miles McAdams, Caleb Ross making up the top 30, Jesse James, Daniel Wing, Devin Trusty, Trey Martin, Kyle Woodward, Shane Johnson, Nathan Ford, the top 37 cars with Jeff Hall and Ronnie Clark at the back end of the field as well, though. But we'll start off by having a quick chat to our P3 on the road tonight, Mike Rinker, here this evening. And I've just noticed I don't have the ability to actually drag people, unfortunately. So I'm actually just going to have to go into the broadcast waiting room to have a chat to the people in there. Hello, gentlemen. I do not have the ability to drag people, so we're just going to start with you one at a time.
I'll get it.
Okay. All right. No worries.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, so we'll wait for Trey to give me the ability to drag people up into the broadcast room. Mike, congratulations tonight, though. P3 on the road, up 28 positions. What a race from you, sir, through all the carnage and the chaos. On average, a caution every 9 laps, but you kept yourself nice and tidy, snuck your way forward. You're almost a silent assassin in the end to get yourself up those 28 spots. But how are you feeling after that race?
I'm just kind of shocked. It was quite the race. I started in the back. I got caught up in some early trouble and somehow just kept my nose clean through the middle part of the race. And at the end, they all wadded it up there right before the start finish, and I passed a lot of people. So whoever started that, thanks.
Yeah, well, you got the Black Rifle coffee entry, and you just kind of lined up and got the positions in your sights, and then you snuck your way throughout that race. Talk me through some of the moments for you, because obviously we were kind of focused on some of the action at the front, and then obviously those cautions that were being called. You really were under the radar in this race. So, looking at this final run home, you were up there, and I'm thinking, I don't know how well you're going to be able to go trying to get up the front here, and then eventually you just show up and you appear. So, but talk us through your race. Obviously, a long race, many cautions, deciding when to take the strategy call of coming into pit lane. How was it for you though, as a whole tonight across the 200 miles?
So 200, it was a good race. Like I said, I got into some early trouble. Um, worked on fixing it and worked on fixing it, and then I got into some late trouble, and the car was actually pretty damaged. My steering wheel was out of alignment through that last run to the finish. So I was surprised I kept the draft. And then, like I said, everybody wrecked at the end, and I snuck through. So just goes to show, if you're there at the end, you never know with these.
You never know. You're never guaranteed. Of course, last week at now I gotta remember where was it? Michigan last week, I think.
Yep.
Michigan. That was 6 cautions in 50 laps. So we're still running the form of 10% of the race is under caution. Do you think it could be a similar scenario next week at Nashville?
I think it's going to get better and better. Well,
I'm hopeful.
got a lot of new guys.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah, got a lot of new guys. And
yeah.
I think they're going to learn and clean it up. So
yeah. And I think the longer you race with the field and the longer you race with the same people every week, the better you actually get of racing around them. And obviously, the more oval racing you do, the more used to racing within the big packs you get to as well. I think Nashville's going to be interesting next week. Looking forward though to seeing how the drivers go. And we've just seen a replay actually of the moment with you. Have to give a shout out to the 21 car. He literally rode the wall, like wheels on the wall, up on the banking. Obviously wall riding is frowned upon, but I think we have to give him some leeway for that one because that was an incredible effort to get the car there. But Mike, let us know anyone you want to give a shout out to. Any sponsors if you have any, or any friends or family who may be watching. For myself and then Ewan, who can't be here unfortunately, congrats on your P3 tonight.
Yep, I'd just like to thank everybody that puts this race on for us. I had fun. Thank you.
No worries, Mike. Thanks so much for joining me for a chat here. Best of luck next week out at Nashville.
Yep, see ya.
Well, as Mike leaves the room, we'll have a quick chat to Nicholas Meadows in P2 here tonight in the 22 car. Nick, congratulations, up 2 positions. Oh, I'm glad you brought your cat with you for this one here off the soundboard there, Nick. But no, congratulations, P2 in the end. You got very close to taking the race lead from Cody, and then as appropriate as it was, you both crashed over the line.
Yes, sir.
So, but fair play. It was a solid race in yourself. Up 2 positions, you stayed in it to the end. Talk me through that one because it was pretty chaos filled trying to wrap our heads around everything that was happening inside the car. Though, what was it like?
So coming up to the end, I'm thinking I'm on the outside. I need to get down. I need to get behind somebody. So I tried to get down behind the leader as much as I could, and I got behind him, and then it just got slow, and I ended up bumping out, and I didn't really want to be in that position, but I did the best I could from it, and taking P2, I'll take it.
Now, were you hoping that the 33 car was going to get in behind you and give you a bit of a push? Because obviously he was a lap down. He stayed on that low line and ended up giving a slight edge to the car ahead. Do you think there was any more you could have done across that restart period, or was it all you could really give?
Staying down probably would have been my best bet, but in the moment, yeah, I mean, it's the best you can do. There's a lot of tension going. You got to do what you got.
That's exactly right. And making those quick-fire decisions can either make or break your race. A P2 in the end, though, is still a very solid performance from yourself. Nashville next week, how are you feeling heading into that one?
Feeling great. Nashville's one of my good ones, and I'm willing to put down a show for everybody.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing it, Nick. Really appreciate you coming and have a chat to me, though. Fantastic effort to put the 22 car in P2 here tonight. Solid points on the board as well after that too. So hold your head high. Nashville's looking pretty bright for you next week. So best of luck out there. Let us know anyone you want to give a shout out to, any sponsors who may be on board with you, or any friends or family who may be watching. And from myself and Ewan, who can't be here unfortunately, congratulations on your P2 here tonight.
Well, first off, I want to thank Trey for giving us this amazing opportunity to come out here and race as a good pack. And then second, I want to give a shout out to Chris Mackey for being a good pit crew leader right there at the end. And then I want to give a shout out to Zach Lowe Racing right here in hometown of Maiden. He's my cousin. He races dirt real life. He's given me a bunch of pointers, and he's definitely helped me up to this second place finish.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. If I look at the schedule, I don't believe we're going to Bristol, but it'd be pretty interesting if next season we get the Bristol dirt track on offer in the Xfinity cars and see how you guys go in some dirty track. Although, based on how this week and last week went, that may be all cautions instead of 10%. But no, Nick, congratulations. Thanks so much once again. Best of luck next week out at Nashville.
Thank you. You too. Have a great night.
Thank you, you too. Next up, we have our race winner here this evening in the 98 car, Cody Pruick from Roanoke, Virginia. Cody, I've got to point out as well, you are bringing the proud honour of getting a race win for the 98 car, as I'm a driver who runs the 98 as well, so it's good to see the 98 winning tonight. Not that I'm showing any favouritism at all, but congratulations. Talk us through that race for yourself. A phenomenal run to the end. Chaos filled as ever at the front end of town, but you managed to survive it all the way to the start-finish line.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, at the start of the race, me and Paul, we were drafting good with each other, having a good race up front. You know, I dodged all the wrecks. Didn't have many up front, but it was fun. It was nice and clean up front, and stayed in the front pack all race.
Well, William in the chat, who was giving support to the number 8 car, who unfortunately caused quite a few of the cautions tonight, said you got lucky. I don't think you did. I think you just drove a very smart race, very clean race as well. There's always some form of luck in there for not getting involved in a wreck, but I think you also put yourself in the position to win it by staying clean, staying at the front, and by keeping that car up to pace as well. I mean, you were at the front of the field the majority of the way. I mean, it's you. I think you earned that win by putting that car in that position, and you drove very, very strong to do that. So, congratulations.
I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, I just that low line was working pretty good. The high line was quick. But I want to stay on that low line, stay back, just buy my time.
Well, obviously, you had the lap car in behind you of the 33, obviously, and the 22 starts put pressure on you off the restart. Were you thankful the 33 decided to tuck right in behind you and give you that slight push just to keep you within the fight, or were you worried the 22 was going to be able to come past at any stage there over the last 2 laps?
A little both. I was scared 22 had a big run, and I was glad he came up and hit me pretty hard, you know, and I just I stayed in it. And, you know, I threw him a little block, you know, coming toward the tri-oval. And yeah, the pushing, that definitely helped me win that race.
Well, Nashville next week are going to be a tough race. Are you feeling confident going into that one?
Yeah, I think I am. You know, I might not win it. I might not be up front, but, you know, I'll try and stay out of the wrecks, and 'cause I'm sure there's going to be plenty.
Well, I think based on this week and last week, if you can stay out of the wrecks, you likely will win. So that's probably the best strategy you could bring. But yeah, I mean, a phenomenal performance once again. Congratulations on your race win, and yeah, congrats on bringing the pride to the 98 car. If I can't do it in the booth, you can at least do it on track. So well done.
I appreciate it. And I want to thank Trey for letting me come in and race with you guys, and you know, I want to thank Chop House Restoration, Blue Line IT, Hawkers Automotive, Skylark Audio, Video, and Lighting for, you know, helping us put on this league and putting on a good league. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, Cody, I'm looking forward to the rest of this season. Looking forward to see how you do as well. Congratulations on your race win. You get yourself some good points heading in towards the playoffs at the end of the season. You get some playoff points as well. Hopefully you can finish inside the top 10 of the championship standings to make yourself a playoff contender at the end of the season.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
No worries. Thank you. Well, aside from that, I think we can have a quick chat to Trey as one of the admins of the series. Carnage-filled race, Trey. Carnage as ever. Cautions are plenty. As I said, we've averaged the last 2 weeks about 10% of the race has been cautions. Every 9 laps tonight, on average, we have one called. Nashville next week, do you think it's going to be a similar scenario?
I think it will be, but I'm also hoping the fact that it's not a super speedway that we might be able to kind of get some single file runs here going and kind of just log laps. That's my hope, but of course we never know until that green flag drops at Nashville next week.
It's often the hope, isn't it, that you can get some solid green flag running. It's never guaranteed though.
Yeah, that's the hope, and I believe that's everybody's hope for every race. Part of the reason I started this league was because I was tired of all the cautions, and it's like, here I start a league and we've got a bunch of cautions. But you know what? We just started. We got a lot of new guys in this league, kind of new to iRacing and just kind of getting their feet wet. And I'm proud of a lot of them because we get in some wrecks and we're just getting to know each other. And we had 39 cars tonight, which is outstanding, in my opinion. So yeah, we'll just kind of keep trucking along, and hopefully by the time we get to Atlanta at the end of August, we kind of know how to run some super speedways, and we can put on a show there at Atlanta like the professionals life. So
well,
that's
it's all you can ever hope for. All throughout a season, as drivers get more and more comfortable as well, and I think as the season goes along, drivers will get more comfortable sitting within the trains and trying to keep their cars clean as well, and getting used to the oval strategies of racing as well. But I mean, it's been a fantastic race tonight, of course, and just a solid performance at Daytona in the end. I think Nashville next week is going to be very, very interesting as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this field handles a slightly shorter regular speedway size track out at Nashville.
Yeah, me as well. I know we've kind of got a schedule going, so we're going to be hitting Nashville Monday night and doing some practicing Monday night, Tuesday night, and then we'll see how the week goes, and hopefully we can put on a show for you guys come Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. So,
well, it's we'll see what happens, but thanks for coming and have a chat to me, Trey. Really appreciate it, and yeah, looking forward to next week out at Nashville. It's going to be good.
Absolutely.
All right, well, a big thank you though to everyone who has watched along with us here this evening. I want to give a quick shout out to all the series sponsors once again. Of course, Chop House Restorations, located out in Ackworth, Georgia. Of course, hit them up over at chophouserestorations.com. To Skylark Audio Visual as well. A big thank you to them for coming on board as the title sponsor of tonight's race for the Skylark 200. To Blue Line Technologies as well, 1866 Blue LTI is the number to call. The website you can visit is bluelti.com as well, based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And then also to Hawker's Automotive as well out of Fort Collins, Colorado. Go check them out at hawkerauto.com. Big shout out to all of our stream sponsors too, DRE Digital Race Engineer, as well as Track Cams as well. If you're watching along with us for the first time, or you've been here for a while and you haven't done so already, hit the like button and the subscribe, as well as the bell icon too, so you're notified whenever we go racing here with MotorMouth Broadcasting. As I said earlier in the show, next time I'll be on your screens here with MotorMouth will be Wednesday night for the GT Challenge out at High Point Racing, so that should be a good affair once again for some sports car action. Next week though, for the I2I Xfinity Championship, we'll be racing out of Nashville Motor Speedway for the next round of this series. Hey, how chaotic and how carnage-filled will it be? Only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see for next week. But massive thank you to everyone being alongside me, as well as Ewan O'Leary, who was in the booth with me tonight. As I said, he had to unfortunately just step out because of how long the race went, so he had to dash quickly off. So, but a big thank you to Ewan. Big thank you to the league for starting the race a little bit later tonight as well, just to allow my meds to soak into my system and get a bit more comfortable for this race too. But massive thank you to everyone who's watched us once again. If you want a bit more of my stuff in terms of broadcasting, come check me out at Infinity Broadcasting as well. None of my broadcasts run head-to-head with MotorMouth, so you can fill your week with myself and Jim's content as well. So massive appreciations to him and everyone out there watching along. We'll see you guys next week though out at Nashville. But until then, I've been Hamish Runner with Ewan O'Leary alongside for the I2I Xfinity Championship Round 1, Season 1 out at Daytona. Until next time, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.